1:1 And the Lord called unto Moses, and spake unto him out of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, 1:2 Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, If any man of you bring an offering unto the Lord, ye shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd, and of the flock. 1:3 If his offering be a burnt sacrifice of the herd, let him offer a male without blemish. He shall offer it of his own voluntary will at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. 1:4 And he shall put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him. 1:5 And he shall kill the bullock before the Lord, and the priests, Aaron's sons, shall bring the blood, and sprinkle the blood round about upon the altar that is by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. 1:6 And he shall flay the burnt offering, and cut it into his pieces. 1:7 And the sons of Aaron the priest shall put fire upon the altar, and lay the wood in order upon the fire. 1:8 And the priests, Aaron's sons, shall lay the parts, the head, and the fat, in order upon the wood that is on the fire which is upon the altar. 1:9 But his inwards and his legs shall he wash in water, and the priest shall burn all on the altar, to be a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 1:10 And if his offering be of the flocks, namely, of the sheep, or of the goats, for a burnt sacrifice, he shall bring in a male without blemish. 1:11 And he shall kill it on the side of the altar northward before the Lord, and the priests, Aaron's sons, shall sprinkle his blood round about upon the altar. 1:12 And he shall cut it into his pieces, with his head and his fat, and the priest shall lay them in order on the wood that is on the fire which is upon the altar. 1:13 But he shall wash the inwards and the legs with water, and the priest shall bring it all, and burn it upon the altar. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 1:14 And if the burnt sacrifice for his offering to the Lord be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering of turtle-doves, or of young pigeons. 1:15 And the priest shall bring it unto the altar, and wring off his head, and burn it on the altar, and the blood thereof shall be wrung out at the side of the altar. 1:16 And he shall pluck away his crop with his feathers, and cast it beside the altar on the east part, by the place of the ashes. 1:17 And he shall cleave it with the wings thereof, but shall not divide it asunder. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar, upon the wood that is upon the fire. It is a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 2:1 And when any will offer a meat offering unto the Lord, his offering shall be of fine flour, and he shall pour oil upon it, and put frankincense thereon. 2:2 And he shall bring it to Aaron's sons the priests, and he shall take thereout his handful of the flour thereof, and of the oil thereof, with all the frankincense thereof, and the priest shall burn the memorial of it upon the altar, to be an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 2:3 And the remnant of the meat offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is a thing most holy of the offerings of the Lord made by fire. 2:4 And if thou bring an oblation of a meat offering baken in the oven, it shall be unleavened cakes of fine flour mingled with oil, or unleavened wafers anointed with oil. 2:5 And if thy oblation be a meat offering baken in a pan, it shall be of fine flour unleavened, mingled with oil. 2:6 Thou shalt part it in pieces, and pour oil thereon. It is a meat offering. 2:7 And if thy oblation be a meat offering baken in the frying pan, it shall be made of fine flour with oil. 2:8 And thou shalt bring the meat offering that is made of these things unto the Lord, and when it is presented unto the priest, he shall bring it unto the altar. 2:9 And the priest shall take from the meat offering a memorial thereof, and shall burn it upon the altar. It is an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 2:10 And that which is left of the meat offering shall be Aaron's and his sons. It is a thing most holy of the offerings of the Lord made by fire. 2:11 No meat offering, which ye shall bring unto the Lord, shall be made with leaven, for ye shall burn no leaven, nor any honey, in any offering of the Lord made by fire. 2:12 As for the oblation of the firstfruits, ye shall offer them unto the Lord, but they shall not be burnt on the altar for a sweet savor. 2:13 And every oblation of thy meat offering shalt thou season with salt, neither shalt thou suffer the salt of the covenant of thy God to be lacking from thy meat offering. With all thine offerings thou shalt offer salt. 2:14 And if thou offer a meat offering of thy firstfruits unto the Lord, thou shalt offer for the meat offering of thy firstfruits green ears of corn dried by the fire, even corn beaten out of full ears. 2:15 And thou shalt put oil upon it, and lay frankincense thereon, it is a meat offering. 2:16 And the priest shall burn the memorial of it, part of the beaten corn thereof, and part of the oil thereof, with all the frankincense thereof, it is an offering made by fire unto the Lord. 3:1 And if his oblation be a sacrifice of peace offering, if he offer it of the herd, whether it be a male or female, he shall offer it without blemish before the Lord. 3:2 And he shall lay his hand upon the head of his offering, and kill it at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and Aaron's sons the priests shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar round about. 3:3 And he shall offer of the sacrifice of the peace offering an offering made by fire unto the Lord, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, 3:4 And the two kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away. 3:5 And Aaron's sons shall burn it on the altar upon the burnt sacrifice, which is upon the wood that is on the fire, it is an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto the Lord. 3:6 And if his offering for a sacrifice of peace offering unto the Lord be of the flock, male or female, he shall offer it without blemish. 3:7 If he offer a lamb for his offering, then shall he offer it before the Lord. 3:8 And he shall lay his hand upon the head of his offering, and kill it before the tabernacle of the congregation, and Aaron's sons shall sprinkle the blood thereof round about upon the altar. 3:9 And he shall offer of the sacrifice of the peace offering an offering made by fire unto the Lord, the fat thereof, and the whole rump, it shall he take off hard by the backbone, and the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, 3:10 And the two kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away. 3:11 And the priest shall burn it upon the altar, it is the food of the offering made by fire unto the Lord. 3:12 And if his offering be a goat, then he shall offer it before the Lord. 3:13 And he shall lay his hand upon the head of it, and kill it before the tabernacle of the congregation, and the sons of Aaron shall sprinkle the blood thereof upon the altar round about. 3:14 And he shall offer thereof his offering, even an offering made by fire unto the Lord, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, 3:15 And the two kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away. 3:16 And the priest shall burn them upon the altar, it is the food of the offering made by fire for a sweet savor, all the fat is the Lord's. 3:17 It shall be a perpetual statute for your generations throughout all your dwellings, that ye eat neither fat nor blood. 4:1 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 4:2 Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a soul shall sin through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord concerning things which ought not to be done, and shall do against any of them, 4:3 If the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring for his sin, which he hath sinned, a young bullock without blemish unto the Lord for a sin offering. 4:4 And he shall bring the bullock unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord, and shall lay his hand upon the bullock's head, and kill the bullock before the Lord. 4:5 And the priest that is anointed shall take of the bullock's blood, and bring it to the tabernacle of the congregation. 4:6 And the priest shall dip his finger in the blood, and sprinkle of the blood 7 times before the Lord, before the veil of the sanctuary. 4:7 And the priest shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar of sweet incense before the Lord, which is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour all the blood of the bullock at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. For 8 And he shall take off from it all the fat of the bullock for the sin offering, the fat that covereth the inwards, and all the fat that is upon the inwards, for 9 And the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is upon them, which is by the flanks, and the caul above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away, for 10 As it was taken off from the bullock of the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar of the burnt offering. For 11 And the skin of the bullock, and all his flesh, with his head, and with his legs, and his inwards, and his dung, for 12 Even the whole bullock shall he carry forth without the camp unto a clean place, where the ashes are poured out, and burn him on the wood with fire, where the ashes are poured out shall he be burnt. For 13 And if the whole congregation of Israel sin through ignorance, and the thing be hid from the eyes of the assembly, and they have done somewhat against any of the commandments of the Lord concerning things which should not be done, and are guilty, for 14 When the sin, which they have sinned against it, is known, then the congregation shall offer a young bullock for the sin, and bring him before the tabernacle of the congregation. For 15 And the elders of the congregation shall lay their hands upon the head of the bullock before the Lord, and the bullock shall be killed before the Lord. For 16 And the priest that is anointed shall bring of the bullock's blood to the tabernacle of the congregation. For 17 And the priest shall dip his finger in some of the blood, and sprinkle it 7 times before the Lord, even before the veil. For 18 And he shall put some of the blood upon the horns of the altar which is before the Lord, that is in the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall pour out all the blood at the bottom of the altar of the burnt offering, which is at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. For 19 And he shall take all his fat from him, and burn it upon the altar. For 20 And he shall do with the bullock as he did with the bullock for a sin offering, so shall he do with this, and the priest shall make an atonement for them, and it shall be forgiven them. For 21 And he shall carry forth the bullock without the camp, and burn him as he burned the first bullock, it is a sin offering for the congregation. For 22 When a ruler hath sinned, and done somewhat through ignorance against any of the commandments of the Lord his God concerning things which should not be done, and is guilty, for 23 Or if his sin, wherein he hath sinned, come to his knowledge, he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a male without blemish, for 24 And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the goat, and kill it in the place where they kill the burnt offering before the Lord, it is a sin offering. For 25 And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out his blood at the bottom of the altar of burnt offering. For 26 And he shall burn all his fat upon the altar, as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. For 27 And if any one of the common people sin through ignorance, while he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of the Lord concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty, for 28 Or if his sin, which he hath sinned, come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female without blemish, for his sin which he hath sinned. For 29 And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay the sin offering in the place of the burnt offering. For 30 And the priest shall take of the blood thereof with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. For 31 And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat is taken away from off the sacrifice of peace offerings, and the priest shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savour unto the Lord, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and it shall be forgiven him. For 32 And if he bring a lamb for a sin offering, he shall bring it a female without blemish. For 33 And he shall lay his hand upon the head of the sin offering, and slay it for a sin offering in the place where they kill the burnt offering. For 34 And the priest shall take of the blood of the sin offering with his finger, and put it upon the horns of the altar of burnt offering, and shall pour out all the blood thereof at the bottom of the altar. For 35 And he shall take away all the fat thereof, as the fat of the lamb is taken away from the sacrifice of the peace offerings, and the priest shall burn them upon the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto the Lord, and the priest shall make an atonement for his sin that he hath committed, and it shall be forgiven him. 5:1 And if a soul sin, and hear the voice of swearing, and is a witness, whether he hath seen or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity. 5:2 Or if a soul touch any unclean thing, whether it be a carcass of an unclean beast, or a carcass of unclean cattle, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and if it be hidden from him, he also shall be unclean, and guilty. 5:3 Or if he touch the uncleanness of man, whatsoever uncleanness it be that a man shall be defiled withal, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty. 5:4 Or if a soul swear, pronouncing with his lips to do evil, or to do good, whatsoever it be that a man shall pronounce with an oath, and it be hid from him, when he knoweth of it, then he shall be guilty in one of these. 5:5 And it shall be, when he shall be guilty in one of these things, that he shall confess that he hath sinned in that thing. 5:6 And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord for his sin which he hath sinned, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of the goats, for a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his sin. 5:7 And if he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring for his trespass, which he hath committed, 2 turtle-doves, or 2 young pigeons, unto the Lord, one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. 5:8 And he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head from his neck, but shall not divide it asunder. 5:9 And he shall sprinkle of the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be wrung out at the bottom of the altar. It is a sin offering. 5:10 And he shall offer the second for a burnt offering, according to the manner, and the priest shall make an atonement for him for his sin which he hath sinned, and it shall be forgiven him. 5:11 But if he be not able to bring 2 turtle-doves, or 2 young pigeons, then he that sinned shall bring for his offering the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense thereon, for it is a sin offering. 5:12 Then shall he bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it, even a memorial thereof, and burn it on the altar, according to the offerings made by fire unto the Lord. It is a sin offering. 5:13 And the priest shall make an atonement for him as touching his sin that he hath sinned in one of these, and it shall be forgiven him, and the remnant shall be the priest's, as a meat offering. 5:14 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 5:15 If a soul commit a trespass, and sin through ignorance, in the holy things of the Lord, then he shall bring for his trespass unto the Lord a ram without blemish out of the flocks, with thy estimation by shekels of silver, after the shekel of the sanctuary, for a trespass offering. 5:16 And he shall make amends for the harm that he hath done in the holy thing, and shall add the 5th part thereto, and give it unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. 5:17 And if a soul sin, and commit any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, though he wist it not, yet is he guilty, and shall bear his iniquity. 5:18 And he shall bring a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy estimation, for a trespass offering, unto the priest, and the priest shall make an atonement for him concerning his ignorance wherein he erred and wist it not, and it shall be forgiven him. 5:19 It is a trespass offering, he hath certainly trespassed against the Lord. 6:1 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 6:2 If a soul sin, and commit a trespass against the Lord, and lie unto his neighbor in that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship, or in a thing taken away by violence, or hath deceived his neighbor, 6:3 Or have found that which was lost, and lieth concerning it, and sweareth falsely, in any of all these that a man doeth, sinning therein, 6:4 Then it shall be, because he hath sinned, and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took vilely away, or the thing which he hath deceitfully gotten, or that which was delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which he found, 6:5 Or all that about which he hath sworn falsely, he shall even restore it in the principal, and shall add the 5th part more thereto, and give it unto him to whom it appertaineth, in the day of his trespass offering. 6:6 And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord, a ram without blemish out of the flock, with thy estimation, for a trespass offering, unto the priest. 6:7 And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord, and it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he hath done in trespassing therein. 6:8 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 6:9 Command Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of the burnt offering. It is the burnt offering, because of the burning upon the altar all night unto the morning, and the fire of the altar shall be burning in it. 6:10 And the priest shall put on his linen garment, and his linen breeches shall he put upon his flesh, and take up the ashes which the fire hath consumed with the burnt offering on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. 6:11 And he shall put off his garments, and put on other garments, and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place. 6:12 And the fire upon the altar shall be burning in it, it shall not be put out, and the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order upon it, and he shall burn thereon the fat of the peace offerings. 6:13 The fire shall ever be burning upon the altar, it shall never go out. 6:14 And this is the law of the meat offering, the sons of Aaron shall offer it before the Lord, before the altar. 6:15 And he shall take of it his handful, of the flour of the meat offering, and of the oil thereof, and all the frankincense which is upon the meat offering, and shall burn it upon the altar for a sweet savour, even the memorial of it, unto the Lord. 6:16 And the remainder thereof shall Aaron and his sons eat, with unleavened bread shall it be eaten in the holy place, in the court of the tabernacle of the congregation they shall eat it. 6:17 It shall not be baken with leaven. I have given it unto them for their portion of my offerings made by fire, it is most holy, as is the sin offering, and as the trespass offering. 6:18 All the males among the children of Aaron shall eat of it. It shall be a statute forever in your generations concerning the offerings of the Lord made by fire, every one that toucheth them shall be holy. 6:19 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 6:20 This is the offering of Aaron and of his sons, which they shall offer unto the Lord in the day when he is anointed, the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a meat offering perpetual, half of it in the morning, and half thereof at night. 6:21 In a pan it shall be made with oil, and when it is baken, thou shalt bring it in, and the baken pieces of the meat offering shalt thou offer for a sweet savour unto the Lord. 6:22 And the priest of his sons that is anointed in his stead shall offer it, it is a statute forever unto the Lord, it shall be wholly burnt. 6:23 For every meat offering for the priest shall be wholly burnt, it shall not be eaten. 6:24 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 6:25 Speak unto Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering, in the place where the burnt offering is killed shall the sin offering be killed before the Lord, it is most holy. 6:26 The priest that offereth it for sin shall eat it, in the holy place shall it be eaten, in the court of the tabernacle of the congregation. 6:27 Whatsoever shall touch the flesh thereof shall be holy, and when there is sprinkled of the blood thereof upon any garment, thou shalt wash that whereon it was sprinkled in the holy place. 6:28 But the earthen vessel wherein it is sodden shall be broken, and if it be sodden in a brasen pot, it shall be both scoured, and rinsed in water. 6:29 All the males among the priests shall eat thereof, it is most holy. 6:30 And no sin offering, whereof any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle of the congregation to reconcile withal in the holy place, shall be eaten, it shall be burnt in the fire. 7:1 Likewise this is the law of the trespass offering, it is most holy. 7:2 In the place where they kill the burnt offering shall they kill the trespass offering, and the blood thereof shall he sprinkle round about upon the altar. 7:3 And he shall offer of it all the fat thereof, the rump, and the fat that covereth the inwards, 7:4 And the 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, which is by the flanks, and the caul that is above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away. 7:5 And the priest shall burn them upon the altar for an offering made by fire unto the Lord, it is a trespass offering. 7:6 Every male among the priests shall eat thereof, it shall be eaten in the holy place, it is most holy. 7:7 As the sin offering is, so is the trespass offering, there is one law for them, the priest that mocketh atonement therewith shall have it. 7:8 And the priest that offereth any man's burnt offering, even the priest shall have to himself the skin of the burnt offering which he hath offered. 7:9 And all the meat offering that is baken in the oven, and all that is dressed in the frying pan, and in the pan, shall be the priest's that offereth it. 7:10 And every meat offering, mingled with oil, and dry, shall all the sons of Aaron have, one as much as another. 7:11 And this is the law of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which he shall offer unto the Lord. 7:12 If he offer it for a thanksgiving, then he shall offer with the sacrifice of thanksgiving unleavened cakes mingled with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil, and cakes mingled with oil, of fine flour, fried. 7:13 Besides the cakes, he shall offer for his offering leavened bread with the sacrifice of thanksgiving of his peace offerings. 7:14 And of it he shall offer one out of the whole oblation for an heave offering unto the Lord, and it shall be the priest's that sprinkleth the blood of the peace offerings. 7:15 And the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings for thanksgiving shall be eaten the same day that it is offered, he shall not leave any of it until the morning. 7:16 But if the sacrifice of his offering be a vow, or a voluntary offering, it shall be eaten the same day that he offereth his sacrifice, and on the morrow also the remainder of it shall be eaten. 7:17 But the remainder of the flesh of the sacrifice on the third day shall be burnt with fire. 7:18 And if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings be eaten at all on the third day, it shall not be accepted, neither shall it be imputed unto him that offereth it, it shall be an abomination, and the soul that eateth of it shall bear his iniquity. 7:19 And the flesh that toucheth any unclean thing shall not be eaten, it shall be burnt with fire, and as for the flesh, all that be clean shall eat thereof. 7:20 But the soul that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, that pertain unto the Lord, having his uncleanness upon him, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. 7:21 Moreover the soul that shall touch any unclean thing, as the uncleanness of man, or any unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing, and eat of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which pertain unto the Lord, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. 7:22 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 7:23 Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, Ye shall eat no manner of fat, of ox, or of sheep, or of goat. 7:24 And the fat of the beast that dieth of itself, and the fat of that which is torn with beasts, may be used in any other use, but ye shall in no wise eat of it. 7:25 For whosoever eateth the fat of the beast, of which men offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, even the soul that eateth it shall be cut off from his people. 7:26 Moreover ye shall eat no manner of blood, whether it be of fowl or of beast, in any of your dwellings. 7:27 Whatsoever soul it be that eateth any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. 7:28 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 7:29 Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, He that offereth the sacrifice of his peace offerings unto the Lord shall bring his oblation unto the Lord of the sacrifice of his peace offerings. 7:30 His own hands shall bring the offerings of the Lord made by fire, the fat with the breast, it shall he bring, that the breast may be waved for a wave offering before the Lord. 7:31 And the priest shall burn the fat upon the altar, but the breast shall be Aaron's and his sons'. 7:32 And the right shoulder shall ye give unto the priest for an heave offering of the sacrifices of your peace offerings. 7:33 He among the sons of Aaron, that offereth the blood of the peace offerings, and the fat, shall have the right shoulder for his part. 734 For the wave breast and the heave shoulder have I taken of the children of Israel from off the sacrifices of their peace offerings, and have given them unto Aaron the priest and unto his sons by a statute forever from among the children of Israel. 735 This is the portion of the anointing of Aaron, and of the anointing of his sons, out of the offerings of the Lord made by fire, in the day when he presented them to minister unto the Lord in the priest's office. 736 Which the Lord commanded to be given them of the children of Israel, in the day that he anointed them, by a statute forever throughout their generations. 737 This is the law of the burnt offering, of the meat offering, and of the sin offering, and of the trespass offering, and of the consecrations, and of the sacrifice of the peace offerings. 738 Which the Lord commanded Moses in Mount Sinai, in the day that he commanded the children of Israel to offer their oblations unto the Lord, in the wilderness of Sinai. 8:1 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 8:2 Take Aaron and his sons with him, and the garments, and the anointing oil, and a bullock for the sin offering, and 2 rams, and a basket of unleavened bread. 8:3 And gather thou all the congregation together unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. 8:4 And Moses did as the Lord commanded him, and the assembly was gathered together unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. 8:5 And Moses said unto the congregation, This is the thing which the Lord commanded to be done. 8:6 And Moses brought Aaron and his sons, and washed them with water. 8:7 And he put upon him the coat, and girded him with the girdle, and clothed him with the robe, and put the ephod upon him, and he girded him with the curious girdle of the ephod, and bound it unto him therewith. 8:8 And he put the breastplate upon him, also he put in the breastplate the Urim and the Thummim. 8:9 And he put the mitre upon his head, also upon the mitre, even upon his forefront, did he put the golden plate, the holy crown, as the Lord commanded Moses. 8:10 And Moses took the anointing oil, and anointed the tabernacle and all that was therein, and sanctified them. 8:11 And he sprinkled thereof upon the altar 7 times, and anointed the altar and all his vessels, both the laver and his foot, to sanctify them. 8:12 And he poured of the anointing oil upon Aaron's head, and anointed him, to sanctify him. 8:13 And Moses brought Aaron's sons, and put coats upon them, and girded them with girdles, and put bonnets upon them, as the Lord commanded Moses. 8:14 And he brought the bullock for the sin offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the bullock for the sin offering. 8:15 And he slew it, and Moses took the blood, and put it upon the horns of the altar round about with his finger, and purified the altar, and poured the blood at the bottom of the altar, and sanctified it, to make reconciliation upon it. 8:16 And he took all the fat that was upon the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and their fat, and Moses burned it upon the altar. 8:17 But the bullock, and his hide, his flesh, and his dung, he burnt with fire without the camp, as the Lord commanded Moses. 8:18 And he brought the ram for the burnt offering, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the ram. 8:19 And he killed it, and Moses sprinkled the blood upon the altar round about. 8:20 And he cut the ram into pieces, and Moses burnt the head, and the pieces, and the fat. 8:21 And he washed the inwards and the legs in water, and Moses burnt the whole ram upon the altar. It was a burnt sacrifice for a sweet savor, and an offering made by fire unto the Lord, as the Lord commanded Moses. 8:22 And he brought the other ram, the ram of consecration, and Aaron and his sons laid their hands upon the head of the ram. 8:23 And he slew it, and Moses took of the blood of it, and put it upon the tip of Aaron's right ear, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. 8:24 And he brought Aaron's sons, and Moses put of the blood upon the tip of their right ear, and upon the thumbs of their right hands, and upon the great toes of their right feet, and Moses sprinkled the blood upon the altar round about. 8:25 And he took the fat, and the rump, and all the fat that was upon the inwards, and the caul above the liver, and the 2 kidneys, and their fat, and the right shoulder. 8:26 And out of the basket of unleavened bread, that was before the Lord, he took 1 unleavened cake, and a cake of oiled bread, and 1 wafer, and put them on the fat, and upon the right shoulder. 8:27 And he put all upon Aaron's hands, and upon his sons' hands, and waved them for a wave offering before the Lord. 8:28 And Moses took them from off their hands, and burnt them on the altar upon the burnt offering. They were consecrations for a sweet savor. It is an offering made by fire unto the Lord. 8:29 And Moses took the breast, and waved it for a wave offering before the Lord, for of the ram of consecration it was Moses' part, as the Lord commanded Moses. 8:30 And Moses took of the anointing oil, and of the blood which was upon the altar, and sprinkled it upon Aaron, and upon his garments, and upon his sons' garments with him, and sanctified Aaron, and his garments, and his sons' garments with him. 8:31 And Moses said unto Aaron and to his sons, Boil the flesh at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and there eat it with the bread that is in the basket of consecrations, as I commanded, saying, Aaron and his sons shall eat it. 8:32 And that which remaineth of the flesh and of the bread shall ye burn with fire. 8:33 And ye shall not go out of the door of the tabernacle of the congregation in 7 days, until the days of your consecration be at an end, for 7 days shall he consecrate you. 8:34 As he hath done this day, so the Lord hath commanded to do, to make an atonement for you. 8:35 Therefore shall ye abide at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation day and night 7 days, and keep the charge of the Lord, that ye die not, for so I am commanded. 8:36 So Aaron and his sons did all things which the Lord commanded by the hand of Moses. 9:1 And it came to pass on the 8th day, that Moses called Aaron and his sons, and the elders of Israel. 9:2 And he said unto Aaron, Take thee a young calf for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering, without blemish, and offer them before the Lord. 9:3 And unto the children of Israel thou shalt speak, saying, Take ye a kid of the goats for a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, both of the first year, without blemish, for a burnt offering. 9:4 Also a bullock and a ram for peace offerings, to sacrifice before the Lord, and a meat offering mingled with oil, for today the Lord will appear unto you. 9:5 And they brought that which Moses commanded before the tabernacle of the congregation, and all the congregation drew near and stood before the Lord. 9:6 And Moses said, This is the thing which the Lord commanded that ye should do, and the glory of the Lord shall appear unto you. 9:7 And Moses said unto Aaron, Go unto the altar, and offer thy sin offering, and thy burnt offering, and make an atonement for thyself, and for the people, and offer the offering of the people, and make an atonement for them, as the Lord commanded. 9:8 Aaron therefore went unto the altar, and slew the calf of the sin offering, which was for himself. 9:9 And the sons of Aaron brought the blood unto him, and he dipped his finger in the blood, and put it upon the horns of the altar, and poured out the blood at the bottom of the altar. 9:10 But the fat, and the kidneys, and the caul above the liver of the sin offering, he burnt upon the altar, as the Lord commanded Moses. 9:11 And the flesh and the hide he burnt with fire without the camp. 9:12 And he slew the burnt offering, and Aaron's sons presented unto him the blood, which he sprinkled round about upon the altar. 9:13 And they presented the burnt offering unto him, with the pieces thereof, and the head, and he burnt them upon the altar. 9:14 And he did wash the inwards and the legs, and burnt them upon the burnt offering on the altar. 9:15 And he brought the people's offering, and took the goat, which was the sin offering for the people, and slew it, and offered it for sin, as the first. 9:16 And he brought the burnt offering, and offered it according to the manner. 9:17 And he brought the meat offering, and took an handful thereof, and burnt it upon the altar, beside the burnt sacrifice of the morning. 9:18 He slew also the bullock and the ram for a sacrifice of peace offerings, which was for the people, and Aaron's sons presented unto him the blood, which he sprinkled upon the altar round about. 9:19 And the fat of the bullock and of the ram, the rump, and that which covereth the inwards, and the kidneys, and the caul above the liver. 9:20 And they put the fat upon the breasts, and he burnt the fat upon the altar. 9:21 And the breasts and the right shoulder Aaron waved for a wave offering before the Lord, as Moses commanded. 9:22 And Aaron lifted up his hand toward the people, and blessed them, and came down from offering of the sin offering, and the burnt offering, and peace offerings. 9:23 And Moses and Aaron went into the tabernacle of the congregation, and came out, and blessed the people, and the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the people. 9:24 And there came a fire out from before the Lord, and consumed upon the altar the burnt offering and the fat, which when all the people saw, they shouted, and fell on their faces. 10:1 And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, took either of them his censer, and put fire therein, and put incense thereon, and offered strange fire before the Lord, which he commanded them not. 10:2 And there went out fire from the Lord, and devoured them, and they died before the Lord. 10:3 Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is it that the Lord spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. 10:4 And Moses called Mishael and Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel the uncle of Aaron, and said unto them, Come near, carry your brethren from before the sanctuary out of the camp. 10:5 So they went near, and carried them in their coats out of the camp, as Moses had said. 10:6 And Moses said unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar and unto Ithamar, his sons, Uncover not your heads, neither rend your clothes, lest ye die, and lest wrath come upon all the people, but let your brethren, the whole house of Israel, bewail the burning which the Lord hath kindled. 10:7 And ye shall not go out from the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die, for the anointing oil of the Lord is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moses. 10:8 And the Lord spake unto Aaron, saying, 10:9 Do not drink wine nor strong drink, thou, nor thy sons with thee, when ye go into the tabernacle of the congregation, lest ye die. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. 10:10 And that ye may put difference between holy and unholy, and between unclean and clean. 10:11 And that ye may teach the children of Israel all the statutes which the Lord hath spoken unto them by the hand of Moses. 10:12 And Moses spake unto Aaron, and unto Eleazar and unto Ithamar, his sons that were left, Take the meat offering that remaineth of the offerings of the Lord made by fire, and eat it without leaven beside the altar, for it is most holy. 10:13 And ye shall eat it in the holy place, because it is thy due, and thy sons' due, of the sacrifices of the Lord made by fire, for so I am commanded. 10:14 And the wave breast and his shoulders shall ye eat in a clean place, thou, and thy sons, and thy daughters with thee, for they be thy due, and thy sons' due, which are given out of the sacrifices of peace offerings of the children of Israel. 10:15 The heave shoulder and the wave breast shall they bring with the offerings made by fire of the fat, to wave it for a wave offering before the Lord, and it shall be thine, and thy sons with thee, by a statute forever, as the Lord hath commanded. 10:16 And Moses diligently sought the goat of the sin offering, and, behold, it was burnt, and he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron which were left alive, saying, 10:17 Wherefore have ye not eaten the sin offering in the holy place, seeing it is most holy, and God hath given it you to bear the iniquity of the congregation, to make atonement for them before the Lord? 10:18 Behold, the blood of it was not brought in within the holy place, ye should indeed have eaten it in the holy place, as I commanded. 10:19 And Aaron said unto Moses, Behold, this day have they offered their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, and such things have befallen me, and if I had eaten the sin offering today, should it have been accepted in the sight of the Lord? 10:20 And when Moses heard that, he was content. 11:1 And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, 11:2 Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. 11:3 Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud, among the beasts, that shall ye eat. 11:4 Nevertheless these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. 11:5 And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. 11:6 And the hare, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. 11:7 And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. 11:8 Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch, they are unclean to you. 11:9 These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. 11:10 And all that have not fins and scales in the seas, and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. 11:11 They shall be even an abomination unto you, ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. 11:12 Whatsoever hath no fins nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. 11:13 And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls, they shall not be eaten, they are an abomination, the eagle, and the ossifrage, and the osprey. 11:14 And the vulture, and the kite after his kind. 11:15 Every raven after his kind. 11:16 And the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind. 11:17 And the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl. 11:18 And the swan, and the pelican, and the gyre eagle. 11:19 And the stork, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. 11:20 All fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. 11:21 Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap withal upon the earth. 11:22 Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. 11:23 But all other flying creeping things, which have 4 feet, shall be an abomination unto you. 11:24 And for these ye shall be unclean, whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean until the even. 11:25 And whosoever beareth out of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. 11:26 The carcasses of every beast which divideth the hoof, and is not cloven-footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you, every one that toucheth them shall be unclean. 11:27 And whatsoever goeth upon his paws, among all manner of beasts that go on all four, those are unclean unto you, whoso toucheth their carcass shall be unclean until the even. 11:28 And he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even, they are unclean unto you. 11:29 These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel, and the mouse, and the tortoise after his kind. 11:30 And the ferret, and the chameleon, and the lizard, and the snail, and the mole. 11:31 These are unclean to you among all that creep, whosoever doth touch them, when they be dead, shall be unclean until the even. 11:32 And upon whatsoever any of them, when they are dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean, whether it be any vessel of wood, or raiment, or skin, or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and it shall be unclean until the even, so it shall be cleansed. 11:33 And every earthen vessel, whereinto any of them falleth, whatsoever is in it shall be unclean, and ye shall break it. 11:34 Of all meat which may be eaten, that on which such water cometh shall be unclean, and all drink that may be drunk in every such vessel shall be unclean. 11:35 And everything whereupon any part of their carcass falleth shall be unclean, whether it be oven, or ranges for pots, they shall be broken down, for they are unclean and shall be unclean unto you. 1136 Nevertheless a fountain or pit, wherein there is plenty of water, shall be clean, but that which toucheth their carcass shall be unclean. 1137 And if any part of their carcass fall upon any sowing seed which is to be sown, it shall be clean. 1138 But if any water be put upon the seed, and any part of their carcass fall thereon, it shall be unclean unto you. 1139 And if any beast, of which ye may eat, die, he that toucheth the carcass thereof shall be unclean until the even. 1140 And he that eateth of the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. He also that beareth the carcass of it shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the even. 1141 And every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth shall be an abomination, it shall not be eaten. 1142 Whatsoever goeth upon the belly, and whatsoever goeth upon all four, or whatsoever hath more feet among all creeping things that creep upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination. 1143 Ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall ye make yourselves unclean with them, that ye should be defiled thereby. 1144 For I am the Lord your God, ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy, neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. 1145 For I am the Lord that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt, to be your God, ye shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. 1146 This is the law of the beasts, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth. 1147 To make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten. 12:1 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 12:2 Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a woman have conceived seed, and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. 12:3 And in the 8th day the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. 12:4 And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days, she shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary, until the days of her purifying be fulfilled. 12:5 But if she bear a maid child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation, and she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days. 12:6 And when the days of her purifying are fulfilled, for a son, or for a daughter, she shall bring a lamb of the first year for a burnt offering, and a young pigeon, or a turtle-dove, for a sin offering, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, unto the priest. 12:7 Who shall offer it before the Lord, and make an atonement for her, and she shall be cleansed from the issue of her blood. This is the law for her that hath borne a male or a female. 12:8 And if she be not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring 2 turtles, or 2 young pigeons, the one for the burnt offering, and the other for a sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her, and she shall be clean. 13:1 And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, 13:2 When a man shall have in the skin of his flesh a rising, a scab, or bright spot, and it be in the skin of his flesh like the plague of leprosy, then he shall be brought unto Aaron the priest, or unto one of his sons the priests. 13:3 And the priest shall look on the plague in the skin of the flesh, and when the hair in the plague is turned white, and the plague in sight be deeper than the skin of his flesh, it is a plague of leprosy, and the priest shall look on him, and pronounce him unclean. 13:4 If the bright spot be white in the skin of his flesh, and in sight be not deeper than the skin, and the hair thereof be not turned white, then the priest shall shut up him that hath the plague 7 days. 13:5 And the priest shall look on him the 7th day, and, behold, if the plague in his sight be at a stay, and the plague spread not in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days more. 13:6 And the priest shall look on him again the 7th day, and, behold, if the plague be somewhat dark, and the plague spread not in the skin, the priest shall pronounce him clean, it is but a scab, and he shall wash his clothes, and be clean. 13:7 But if the scab spread much abroad in the skin, after that he hath been seen of the priest for his cleansing, he shall be seen of the priest again. 13:8 And if the priest see that, behold, the scab spreadeth in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprosy. 13:9 When the plague of leprosy is in a man, then he shall be brought unto the priest. 13:10 And the priest shall see him, and, behold, if the rising be white in the skin, and it have turned the hair white, and there be quick raw flesh in the rising. 13:11 It is an old leprosy in the skin of his flesh, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean, and shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. 13:12 And if a leprosy break out abroad in the skin, and the leprosy cover all the skin of him that hath the plague from his head even to his foot, wheresoever the priest looketh. 13:13 Then the priest shall consider, and, behold, if the leprosy have covered all his flesh, he shall pronounce him clean that hath the plague. It is all turned white, he is clean. 13:14 But when raw flesh appeareth in him, he shall be unclean. 13:15 And the priest shall see the raw flesh, and pronounce him to be unclean, for the raw flesh is unclean, it is a leprosy. 13:16 Or if the raw flesh turn again, and be changed unto white, he shall come unto the priest. 13:17 And the priest shall see him, and, behold, if the plague be turned into white, then the priest shall pronounce him clean that hath the plague, he is clean. 13:18 The flesh also, in which, even in the skin thereof, was a boil, and is healed. 13:19 And in the place of the boil there be a white rising, or a bright spot, white, and somewhat reddish, and it be shewed to the priest. 13:20 And if, when the priest seeth it, behold, it be in sight lower than the skin, and the hair thereof be turned white, the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague of leprosy broken out of the boil. 13:21 But if the priest look on it, and, behold, there be no white hairs therein, and if it be not lower than the skin, but be somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. 13:22 And if it spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a plague. 13:23 But if the bright spot stay in his place, and spread not, it is a burning boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. 13:24 Or if there be any flesh, in the skin whereof there is a hot burning, and the quick flesh that burneth have a white bright spot, somewhat reddish, or white. 13:25 Then the priest shall look upon it, and, behold, if the hair in the bright spot be turned white, and it be in sight deeper than the skin, it is a leprosy broken out of the burning, wherefore the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. 13:26 But if the priest look on it, and, behold, there be no white hair in the bright spot, and it be no lower than the other skin, but be somewhat dark, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. 13:27 And the priest shall look upon him the 7th day, and if it be spread much abroad in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is the plague of leprosy. 13:28 And if the bright spot stay in his place, and spread not in the skin, but it be somewhat dark, it is a rising of the burning, and the priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is an inflammation of the burning. 13:29 If a man or woman have a plague upon the head or the beard. 13:30 Then the priest shall see the plague, and, behold, if it be in sight deeper than the skin, and there be in it a yellow thin hair, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a dry skull, even a leprosy upon the head or beard. 13:31 And if the priest look on the plague of the skull, and, behold, it be not in sight deeper than the skin, and that there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut up him that hath the plague of the skull 7 days. 13:32 And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the plague, and, behold, if the skull spread not, and there be in it no yellow hair, and the skull be not in sight deeper than the skin. 13:33 He shall be shaven, but the skull shall he not shave, and the priest shall shut up him that hath the skull 7 days more. 13:34 And in the 7th day the priest shall look on the skull, and, behold, if the skull be not spread in the skin, nor be in sight deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean, and he shall wash his clothes, and be clean. 13:35 But if the skull spread much in the skin after his cleansing. 13:36 Then the priest shall look on him, and, behold, if the skull be spread in the skin, the priest shall not seek for yellow hair, he is unclean. 13:37 But if the skull be in his sight at a stay, and that there is black hair grown up therein, the skull is healed, he is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. 1338 If a man also or a woman have in the skin of their flesh bright spots, even white bright spots, 1339 Then the priest shall look, and, behold, if the bright spots in the skin of their flesh be darkish white, it is a freckled spot that groweth in the skin, he is clean. 1340 And the man whose hair is fallen off his head, he is bald, yet is he clean. 1341 And he that hath his hair fallen off from the part of his head toward his face, he is forehead bald, yet is he clean. 1342 And if there be in the bald head, or bald forehead, a white reddish sore, it is a leprosy sprung up in his bald head, or his bald forehead. 1343 Then the priest shall look upon it, and, behold, if the rising of the sore be white reddish in his bald head, or in his bald forehead, as the leprosy appeareth in the skin of the flesh, 1344 He is a leprous man, he is unclean, the priest shall pronounce him utterly unclean, his plague is in his head. 1345 And the leper in whom the plague is, his clothes shall be rent, and his head bare, and he shall put a covering upon his upper lip, and shall cry, Unclean, unclean. 1346 All the days wherein the plague shall be in him he shall be defiled, he is unclean, he shall dwell alone, without the camp shall his habitation be. 1347 The garment also that the plague of leprosy is in, whether it be a woolen garment, or a linen garment, 1348 Whether it be in the warp, or woof, of linen, or of woolen, whether in a skin, or in anything made of skin, 1349 And if the plague be greenish or reddish in the garment, or in the skin, either in the warp, or in the woof, or in anything of skin, it is a plague of leprosy, and shall be shewed unto the priest. 1350 And the priest shall look upon the plague, and shut up at that. Hath the plague 7 days, 1351 And he shall look on the plague on the 7th day, if the plague be spread in the garment, either in the warp, or in the woof, or in a skin, or in any work that is made of skin, the plague is a fretting leprosy, it is unclean. 1352 He shall therefore burn that garment, whether warp or woof, in woolen or in linen, or anything of skin, wherein the plague is, for it is a fretting leprosy, it shall be burnt in the fire. 1353 And if the priest shall look, and, behold, the plague be not spread in the garment, either in the warp, or in the woof, or in anything of skin, 1354 Then the priest shall command that they wash the thing wherein the plague is, and he shall shut it up 7 days more, 1355 And the priest shall look on the plague, after that it is washed, and, behold, if the plague have not changed his color, and the plague be not spread, it is unclean, thou shalt burn it in the fire, it is fret inward, whether it be bare within or without. 1356 And if the priest look, and, behold, the plague be somewhat dark after the washing of it, then he shall rend it out of the garment, or out of the skin, or out of the warp, or out of the woof. 1357 And if it appear still in the garment, either in the warp, or in the woof, or in anything of skin, it is a spreading plague, thou shalt burn that wherein the plague is with fire. 1358 And the garment, either warp, or woof, or whatsoever thing of skin it be, which thou shalt wash, if the plague be departed from them, then it shall be washed the second time, and shall be clean. 1359 This is the law of the plague of leprosy in a garment of woolen or linen, either in the warp, or woof, or anything of skins, to pronounce it clean, or to pronounce it unclean. 14:1 And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, 14:2 This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing, he shall be brought unto the priest. 14:3 And the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and, behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper. 14:4 Then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds alive and clean, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. 14:5 And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. 14:6 As for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and shall dip them and the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. 14:7 And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field. 14:8 And he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, and shave off all his hair, and wash himself in water, that he may be clean, and after that he shall come into the camp, and shall tarry abroad out of his tent 7 days. 14:9 But it shall be on the 7th day, that he shall shave all his hair off his head and his beard and his eyebrows, even all his hair he shall shave off, and he shall wash his clothes, also he shall wash his flesh in water, and he shall be clean. 14:10 And on the 8th day he shall take 2 he-lambs without blemish, and 1 ewe-lamb of the first year without blemish, and 3/10 deals of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. 14:11 And the priest that mocketh him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean, and those things, before the Lord, at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. 14:12 And the priest shall take 1 ewe-lamb, and offer him for a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. 14:13 And he shall slay the lamb in the place where he shall kill the sin offering and the burnt offering, in the holy place, for as the sin offering is the priest's, so is the trespass offering. It is most holy. 14:14 And the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. 14:15 And the priest shall take some of the log of oil, and pour it into the palm of his own left hand. 14:16 And the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle of the oil with his fingers 7 times before the Lord. 14:17 And of the rest of the oil that is in his hand shall the priest put upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, upon the blood of the trespass offering. 14:18 And the remnant of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall pour upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, and the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord. 14:19 And the priest shall offer the sin offering, and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanness, and afterward he shall kill the burnt offering. 14:20 And the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean. 14:21 And if he be poor, and cannot get so much, then he shall take 1 lamb for a trespass offering to be waved, to make an atonement for him, and 1/10 deal of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, and a log of oil. 14:22 And 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to get, and the one shall be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. 14:23 And he shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, before the Lord. 14:24 And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespass offering, and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. 14:25 And he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. 14:26 And the priest shall pour of the oil into the palm of his own left hand. 14:27 And the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. 14:28 And the priest shall put of the oil that is in his hand upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, upon the place of the blood of the trespass offering. 14:29 And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, to make an atonement for him before the Lord. 14:30 And he shall offer the one of the turtle doves, or of the young pigeons, such as he can get. 14:31 Even such as he is able to get, the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering, with the meat offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed before the Lord. 14:32 This is the law of him in whom is the plague of leprosy, whose hand is not able to get that which pertaineth to his cleansing. 14:33 And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, 14:34 When ye be come into the land of Canaan, which I give to you for a possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in a house of the land of your possession. 14:35 And he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, It seemeth to me there is as it were a plague in the house. 14:36 Then the priest shall command that they empty the house, before the priest go into it to see the plague, that all that is in the house be not made unclean, and afterward the priest shall go in to see the house. 14:37 And he shall look on the plague, and, behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house with hollow strakes, greenish or reddish, which inside are lower than the wall. 14:38 Then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house, and shut up the house 7 days. 1439 And the priest shall come again the 7th day, and shall look, and, behold, if the plague be spread in the walls of the house. 1440. Then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into an unclean place without the city. 1441 And he shall cause the house to be scraped within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off without the city into an unclean place. 1442 And they shall take other stones, and put them in the place of those stones, and he shall take other mortar, and shall plaister the house. 1443 And if the plague come again, and break out in the house, after that he hath taken away the stones, and after he hath scraped the house, and after it is plaistered. 1444 Then the priest shall come and look, and, behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house, it is unclean. 1445 And he shall break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house, and he shall carry them forth out of the city into an unclean place. 1446 Moreover he that goeth into the house all the while that it is shut up shall be unclean until the even. 1447 And he that lieth in the house shall wash his clothes, and he that eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. 1448 And if the priest shall come in, and look upon it, and, behold, the plague hath not spread in the house, after the house was plaistered, then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. 1449 And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. 1450 And he shall kill the one of the birds in an earthen vessel over running water. 1451 And he shall take the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird, and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. 1452 And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, and with the living bird, and with the cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the scarlet. 1453 But he shall let go the living bird out of the city into the open fields, and make an atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. 1454 This is the law for all manner of plague of leprosy, and scall. 1455 And for the leprosy of a garment, and of a house. 1456 And for a rising, and for a scab, and for a bright spot. 1457 To teach when it is unclean, and when it is clean. This is the law of leprosy. 15:1 And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying, 15:2 Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because of his issue he is unclean. 15:3 And this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is his uncleanness. 15:4 Every bed, whereon he lieth that hath the issue, is unclean, and everything, whereon he sitteth, shall be unclean. 15:5 And whosoever toucheth his bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. 15:6 And he that sitteth on any thing whereon he sat that hath the issue shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. 15:7 And he that toucheth the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. 15:8 And if he that hath the issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. 15:9 And what saddle soever he rideth upon that hath the issue shall be unclean. 15:10 And whosoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean until the even, and he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even. 15:11 And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue, and hath not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even.